So I recently got this new Fuji camera, FUJIFILM X-S10, and I just wanted to talk about my first-hand impressions and why I decided to get it. Now, this is not going to be a professional review because one, I'm not a professional, and two, I just want to give as I said, first impressions. So why did I get this camera? I was debating whether or not I should get this camera or the Canon M50 Mark II. I wanted to get a mirrorless, and I wanted to get one that had touchscreen and that had like a flippy screen like this, either up or to the side. I would prefer to the side, and this has that, so that was a good plus. And one that was new because I don't know why, that I don't really have any logical reason for wanting a new camera, like for it to have to be a new model. As opposed to an older one. I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking newer is better, but that might not always be the case. So that's kind of a bad reason. Anyway, so I was debating between the two. And in the end, I decided to go for this one for, I guess, a few different reasons. I tried out both cameras in the stores. And when I picked up, my first-hand impression of the Canon, not this one, the Canon M50, was that the back cover, this part, felt very plasticky and very flimsy. And I hadn't touched that type of Canon camera in a long time, if ever, I don't know. So it was just a true first impression. I didn't have anything in my mind when I picked it up. I just felt wow, plastic. And that's obviously not a good impression. I wanted a white camera, and the M50 comes in white, so that was something I had to give up once I started looking at this camera. Having a white camera is not really a big deal. I just think it looks really cool, and I've never had one, and I've always wanted one. But anyway, maybe in the future, who knows? But for now, I ended up getting a black one still. So when I picked up this camera, it immediately felt a lot different, I feel than the Canon. I don't want to poo-poo the Canon because I actually really liked it. I just like this one better, honestly. I like the design when I picked it up, and when I looked at the little XS10 here, and sort of the square retro style design of this half, and then you have the modern kind of grip that's a little bit bigger on the other side. I personally really like that design. And first impression when you're picking it up in the store and you're not a professional and you don't have Fujifilm or whatever camera shooting background, you're literally just picking it up as an innocent person with no preconceived notions of what you're getting yourself into. Those are the things that you pay attention to, or at least I did. And I really like that. One thing that a lot of reviewers mentioned, two things actually. One is the lack of dials compared to older Fujifilm models, and two is the grip is really small. Now, the lack of dials, I'm not a Fujifilm, I don't have any experience using mirrorless Fujifilm, so that's not something I'm missing, because you can't miss what you've never had, at least not in this context, I think. And the grip is you can hold it like this. Most reviewers I've seen online were men, and obviously men have bigger hands, so let me try to angle myself here. So if you're a man, or you're, I guess, a girl with bigger hands, it might be hard to fit more than 2 fingers onto the grip. But if you have I guess, smallish hands, or just average sized girl hands, I don't know, you can actually fit 3 hands onto the grip. I can hold it comfortably like this with 3 fingers. I don't have to curl it under. Probably if I had to shoot it for an extended period of time, I might still hold it like this. I don't know, but it's completely possible to hold it with 3 fingers if your hands are on the smaller side. So that's just 2 points I wanted to mention that reviewers online kind of seem to think were negatives, but that for me personally don't make any it makes no difference whatsoever, because I don't have any experience and my hand fits, so it doesn't pertain to me at all. Anyway, the reason why I ended up getting the Fuji was because when I was using it in the store, it was just such a fun shooting experience. It has the filters, and the filters relate to the Fujifilm film Fujifilm film, like for film cameras, that like when you shoot with certain types of film, you can get different looks. And when you have it, like I have it in aperture mode here, then you turn the left dial here, you can change, like you can flip between the filters and you can get different colors. So like, look, here's the more bluish tint, and then you can have like, you know, other colors that look different. Now it's probably better if you have like more colors in your subject, but anyway, it's, you know, just like a fun, I don't know if that's necessary or not, but I'm not getting this camera as a professional. That's very important for me to mention. I'm getting it as like a fun thing that I want to use for like creative products, for not for fun, but for like, for instance, my YouTube channel and stuff like that, stuff that don't make me any money. You know, if you're a professional shooter, you're approaching it from a totally different point of view. But for me, I wanted something that was fun to use. And one, filters are super fun, at least for me. I don't know about what other people think, but for me, they're really fun. Another thing that's fun and awesome and great that I love is that you can focus by tapping the screen. You can probably do that with most cameras nowadays, but yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That was just like a major requirement, because I'm coming from like, oops, it wasn't focused. I'm approaching it from like, how should I put this? I'm used to shooting on my phone, right? I love taking photos on my phone. As I said, I'm not a professional, so I don't care if taking photos on your phone or videos is frowned upon, because I like it and I think it's fun and intuitive. So because I like taking photos on my phone, I thought to myself, okay, what do I like about it? And one thing I really like about taking photos on my phone is that I can just tap on the screen. It's really intuitive. What I tap on is what's in focus. I don't need to turn the dials. I don't need to do anything. I can just like tap on whatever I want. And then that becomes the focus, like the focal point in the image or in the video. That's something I wanted, and that's something that can be achieved with this camera. So that just made the experience more fun. And as I said, I'm approaching it from like a fun and like enjoyable point of, I guess, view or whatever. One thing that I don't really care about is like the electronic viewfinder. I don't need that. Honestly, as I said, I'm used to shooting on my phone. I never used a viewfinder. I've never liked having viewfinders, but I know a lot of people find them like, you know, they're paramount to their work. So of course you can't get rid of it. But that's just something, again, for me, fun equals like tapping on the screen, and the viewfinder is not fun. It's just like business and not pleasure. I don't know how to put it. But anyway, the screen was like a super huge point for me. And that's also one of the reasons why I got it, even though like all the modern cameras nowadays have like screens that are great. So it's not really, I don't know if it's necessary to mention it, but for me, the screen was just like a huge, something that was very important. And yeah. So also another thing with the screen, it was important for me that I could like flip it out. I don't know what is focusing on my leg, my arm. I don't know. You know, there's a crop factor. So obviously it's like 15 centimeters away from my body right now. So nothing is in focus. Anyway, one of the reasons why I picked it up was like, it had to be fun. It is really fun. I really like shooting with it. And I think that's important to keep in mind when you're watching reviews and all of that stuff online, because a lot of the reviewers are very professional and they mention all these things that if you're just either a beginner or just someone who wants to have fun and take good images, take good photos, it doesn't really pertain to you. Like, chromic aberration and I don't know, color bleeding, is that a thing? I don't even know. I've watched so many reviews and there's so much information I found that it's not really relevant for me. All I need to know is like, is it good quality or not? Because if it's bad quality, it doesn't matter if you're like, you know, a beginner or not. It's not gonna produce good results. But if it's good quality, then whether or not it produces good results is up to the user. So, you know, that's kind of how I was approaching it. Like, if it's bad quality, it might break quickly or something like that. And, you know, that's not fun. And as I said, I approach it from like a fun point of view. I don't really know what to say more about it. Like the quality, the hand feel when you're holding it in your hand, is really nice. The quality feels good. It's really fun to shoot with. I love the screen. One thing, they didn't give me like a screen protector. I even asked for it, but they didn't have that. So I ordered one. Actually, it's already arrived. It's in my mailbox. I just have to go outside and get it, but I'm not about to do that right now. It's comfortable to hold. The body itself is not too heavy, but once you put a lens on it, it's kind of heavy, and that's inevitable really, because it's like you're gonna have to use the lens, otherwise what are you doing? So yeah, I picked this lens 1.4 f stop because I wanted really blurry backgrounds, and yeah, I'm able to get that with this lens. Oh, one thing, the battery, it drains so fast. Like when I'm just playing around with it, zooming and stuff, and like just, it keeps draining. The battery life is terrible, and the Fuji batteries are really expensive. Well, all like brand camera batteries are always expensive. I tried recording this video like 80 million times, so I don't remember if I already said this, but I have another lens in the mail, 22 millimeters. Also a Chinese one, manual focus. Manual focus is fine if you're just recording videos, especially for the type of videos that I have in mind. I think it's important to think about what kind of like video, photo, whatever you want to create before you purchase the lenses and before you purchase maybe even the camera. Because manual, for instance, it's maybe I'll talk about that later in another video. It's not important right now. But yeah, I think that is one thing that it's not really advice, but it's just something that I realized before I made the purchase decision. It's like, there's so much information out there and so much like professional level information. But when it comes down to it, it's the type of content that these people are producing, the type of content that you want to produce. And if it isn't, then try to look for creators who are producing the kind of content that you want to make and see what they have to say, because a lot of the time people are approaching their gear from totally different angles, and what might work for some people might not work for others. Anyway, I think this camera, just to summarize, it's like a great all-round camera. It's probably gonna work for most people. The lens I got is also probably a good all-round lens, I don't know. And yeah, that's like, I'm really super happy with my purchase. That's why I decided to make this video. Actually, I mainly want to make videos about things that I'm happy about. I don't want to recommend things that I don't like. And like, I find that even talking about products that I don't really like that much, I mean, it's good to advise against them, but at the same time, I would rather talk about products that I'm excited about. But yeah, anyway, I'm really excited about this camera. I'm super excited about what I might be able to create with it. I have a lot of ideas, and as you can see, it's running out of battery right now. And yeah, anyway, we'll see what the future holds for me in this camera. For now, I really love shooting with it. Like, that is the major thing. I think if anyone is considering purchasing a new camera, like, if you can, 100,000% recommend going to the shop and trying it out. And don't buy it on the same day that you're trying it out for the first time. Try it out, and then try out some other brands from like other or try out other models from other brands, just so you can compare. And don't get swayed by like the reviews that you see online. Of course, listen to what people have to say. That's like a given. But don't have your opinion completely swayed by someone who's saying like, oh, I love this brand, or oh, this brand is so and so. Trust your own feeling when you're using the camera as well. Like, is it fun to use? Is it intuitive to you? Everyone are approaching it from different angles. So you got to figure out kind of what angle you're approaching it from. For me personally, I was surprised at how intuitive I found this camera. Like, I've only had it for a few days, and I feel like I already know it a lot better than any camera I've ever had before. And yeah, except for the iPhone. The iPhone is like the holy grail. But, that's not a professional camera. That's like an all-purpose device. So we're putting the iPhone aside and taking it out of the competition and just talking about cameras. like for me, I found the Fujifilm menu system super intuitive. One thing that's like negative and that I don't understand is the app for the computer. No, not for the computer, for the phone, where you're supposed to be able to access the files on the camera through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It doesn't work at all. Like, I don't know what is up with that, but it does not work. Like, it literally doesn't work. And we're in 2020, so that's kind of like, okay, it's still like we're still having these types of connectivity issues in 2020. Like, what is up with that? I don't really know. But I don't think that's the camera's fault. I think it's the app's fault. I could be wrong though. All in all, in summary, I really like this camera. I'm so happy that I bought it. And yeah, you can see the little flippy screen here. I mean, the photos are just like great quality. I took some photos of my cat and I sent them to my friend, and he was also like, oh, you should make an Instagram page for your cat. Oh, she's gonna be insta famous. Like, look at this. And well, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, yeah, all in all, great camera. Obviously, it's the lens that gives you that shallow depth of field, but the funness of using the camera makes you want to use it more, which obviously makes you better at shooting. And that's, if you're better at something, you're always able to get better results. So like the camera does play a major role, I think, when it comes to like getting good images, because if it's fun to use, you just want to use it more and then you get better faster. And I'm gonna end it on that note. That is it for this time. I hope I made some sort of sense in this review. It's not a review, it's a first impressions video. I hope I made some kind of sense. My videos have been a little bit like, I've been kind of slow with the video making lately because I've kind of had a lot of stuff to take care of. But yeah, hopefully I can make something good with this camera. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you in the new year, which is in like 3 or 4 days. I don't know what date it is today, but yeah,